Greetings, it is I, the Nomad, coming to you live from the wastelands of the internet once again to bring you the news of the week. Good morning to everybody. And yes, it's still morning out here, all right, so I can say that. Um, I see that Mr. Barkley's in the chat. Yeah, growing up on a farm, and I mean back in Nebraska when I was growing up, there were a lot of feral cats. Um, Not so many feral dogs, believe it or not, but a lot of feral cats. Cats, I'm not sure why there were so many feral cats compared to dogs, but there were a lot of feral cats. And unfortunately, one of the things that the cats would get involved in, okay, is you would drive your vehicles around, tractors, cars, whatever, pickup trucks, doing your normal day of work on the farm. At night, of course, though, the cats had a tendency to look for the warmth. And since the engines initially were pretty warm, they would crawl up into the engine housings, right, to stay relatively warm. And it gets them out of the weather, it gets them out of the rain, it gets them out of the wind, and so forth. But in the morning, when you get ready for work, they are not situated in the best of places. I'm just going to put it to you that way. And so there was a number of critters that caught fan belt disease, as we termed it. It. There's nothing you could really do about it. Okay, I, I feel bad, but there's really nothing you can do about it. Right? I mean, you could go into a culling process where every feral cat you saw you shot. Okay, I mean, if you wanted to go that direction, but most people had no intention of just killing animals for the sake of killing. Okay, um, you got to understand that. But we have news. Let's get to the news, shall we? We'll start off with the news. Europe battles powder shortage to supply shells for the Ukraine. Hello, Nimble Horse. How's it going? Hard to find gunpowder is hindering Europe's scramble to provide hundreds of thousands of shells for Ukraine's defensive effort against Russian invaders, with solutions only starting to emerge. Oh, from the French AFP. Okay, France 24. We have all become aware of the need to face up to the scarcity of some components, especially gunpowder, said President Macron. All right, on Monday, after gathering of Kiev's allies in Paris. Powder is really what's lacking today, he added. Gunpowder goes into propellant charges that hurl artillery shells, such as the NATO standard 155 mm projectiles used by many guns sent to the Ukraine over distances of tens of kilometers. A simple explosive artillery shell has three parts. It has a steel casing, a high explosive main charge, and a detonator, usually set to trigger the blast on impact, said Johann Hochrow, all right, a munitions expert at the German Armed Forces University in Munich. Isn't that interesting? They have in Munich a German Armed Forces University. Propellant charges are usually separate because gunners will take one or two or up to six or seven or even eight depending upon the desired range. While the propellant is still referred to as gunpowder, it's not powder at all these days. It's made up of rods or pellets, Horkrol said. In a video on its website, German arms manufacturer Rheinmetall illustrates stackable propellant cylinders filled with explosive pellets slotted behind a shell in a breech of a cannon. Okay, why am I doing this story? Why is there a shortage of shells for the Ukraine? I'm serious. If there's a shortage of shells for the Ukraine, what does that say about Europe's ability to defend itself? What does it say about these countries like Germany and France that are now running around going, "Oh, but we needed supplies. Oh, we need it. We need to ramp up production." Where was your production before? Let's be perfectly frank here. These guys were not serious, and they're still not serious, by the way. The Europeans are still not serious about their own defense. They expect the United States to come riding in on its white horse and give them everything that they want. All right. And by the way, they expect U.S. lives to be expended to protect them. Meanwhile, they sit back and bitch. They sit back and backstab us in the UN. They sit back and go and give us the poo-poo about how U.S. is ready to rock, and you guys are the bully of the world, and you're only out for oil, and you're only doing this, and you're only doing that, and you guys are just the bad guys, and you guys are an imperial fort. Go F yourselves then. Since all we do is all this bad in the world that you think that you can just backstab us at every opportunity, go F yourselves. Go defend yourselves, all right, against what's coming. You don't want us there. You don't want us sit up there and dictating policy around the world. You don't want the big bad United States running around act like the world policeman. Okay, well, fine. We will stop being the policeman. Enjoy your world. You want to play the little leftist freaking games that are running around out there? Well, when the police aren't around, okay, the police are all racist and you Americans are all bad and this is all the same. Okay, well, guess what happens when the police aren't around? You defunded the police in American cities. The same leftists who bitch about this, about America around the world being the world's policemen, are the same ones who went running around screaming, "We got to get rid of the police brutality, police this." Okay, well, now what are they doing? Now they're busy whinging and crying. And yeah, I can understand why you're sick of the Ukraine. All right? I'm just sick of the Europeans as a whole, to be honest. Since we're not talking about the Ukraine, we'll go to a different story. Appeals court tosses January 6th sentence in a ruling that could affect more than 100 cases. Well, what's this from the NBC News? What could this possibly be?
That's nice. You're sick of the European toll, are you?
Well, welcome, Batman. Let me.
Come on then, Nonad. Share your screen.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just give me a chance here. Okay.
Thank you, Nonad. Now you might unmute yourself.
Well, there. I'll unmute myself for you. How's that? How's that?
Ah, to hear your dulcet tones again is a nightmare to my ears.
Well, good. I'm glad to be the nightmare fuel for you. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'll just take it on you.
The appeals court tosses January 6th sentence in a ruling that could affect more than 100 cases. Let's see here. Washington, a federal appeals court on Friday, tossed out a portion of the January 6th defendant's sentence that could affect more than 100 cases related to the 2021 attack on the Capitol. They still call it an attack on the Capitol. All right. The ruling
wasn't. No. even when they were saying it was an attack, when it was on the day when they were showing you the live coverage of it, it demonstrably was not an attack.
Right. Well, anyway, the ruling by a 3-judge panel looked at the lower court's enhanced sentencing as a defendant over his substantial interference with the administration of justice on the day Congress was certifying Joe Biden's victory over Donald Trump. The appeals court ruled that administration of justice does not encompass Congress's role in the electoral certification process. The ruling potentially opens the door for resentencing of January 6 defendants who were hit by similar sentences to that of Larry Brock, who appealed his case to the Washington court. The panel upheld Brock's overall conviction. All right, but what they said is there's no administration of justice here. Okay? Now, why is this important? Okay? This is they are underselling this. Okay, I'm telling you now, they're underselling what this just did.
Whoa, you just closed your stream down.
Okay, well, no, I just closed that screen. Okay, let me open up a
No, you closed down the stream.
The stream?
It went boom, and the stream has ended.
Oh no. That's just
yeah, you stop sharing your stream.
Yes. I'll get back to it in a
bastard.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll get there. I'll redo it.
Fucking boomer.
I'll get to it. There you go. Right. But I just closed that Windows.
Yay.
Okay. But back to this Batman.
Well, yeah, hold on while I've got the there we go.
Okay, but this will be the next story. But
yes.
Why was this ruling? What does this ruling really entail? Because what they basically said, basically they just said that there is no obstruction of justice here. Okay.
Right.
Now I want you to think on that, because what is Trump being charged with in the DC court? Obstruction of justice. Yes! Over the January 6th. So, since you're trying to accuse him of obstruction of justice, and they just said there is no justice here, or any administration of justice applying here, how can you then say that he was, quote unquote, obstructing justice? All right.
Oh, that's easy, because he's Donald Trump and he's evil and he's a murderer and a Nazi and he steals from the collection plate when he goes to church on Sunday.
Well, he might. I mean,
he doesn't like Muslims.
I wouldn't put that past him, to be honest.
He when he's walking down the streets and he sees a black person or an Asian person or a sorry, Maddie, a Latinx person, he beats them up with his solid gold cane.
I agree with you, Matt. He should have pardoned them all. He should have issued a blanket pardon for all that, and put an end to that entire fiasco. But I think Trump was still under the impression, all right, that there were good people, all right, in the bureaucracy. I really did. I really do believe
there are no good people.
Yeah, I really think that he was under the impression that these people were fair-minded individuals, and that there were people who were going to do it. Okay. Trump was the swamp.
Does that make Joe Biden Swamp Thing?
It's a good question.
Or is that Nancy Pelosi? No, sorry, she's a swamp donkey.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about. We're going to go down to another story. You ready, Batman?
Yes, I've just seen it. The wreckage of a bird killer.
Yes, the American revolt against green energy has begun. In a story filled with climate alarmist narratives, the USA Today recently reported on a rising movement by local governments in the United States to refuse to permit unwanted wind and solar industrial sites in their jurisdictions. After setting the stage by parroting the Biden administration's goals of 100% clean energy by 2035...
So does that mean they're all going nuclear?
That's the only clean energy you're going to be able to utilize.
It's not clean at all, but it's the cleanest we've got.
No. Nuclear power is cleaner than oil.
Like I said, it's not clean at all, but it's the cleanest we've got.
Why would you say it's not clean at all?
Because of the waste products at the moment. If we can if we can get fusion, we won't have waste products.
Yes, you will.
Or at least not as much as we get now.
Let me ask a question for you.
And apparently to be much more manageable.
Well,
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Let me ask a question. Because all these waste products, right, that you're talking about.
Yep. I know they're safely disposed of and everything, but they're still there. Every form of energy production we have at the moment, and that includes the so-called green shite, has waste products.
Yes, that's true. But the thing is that people don't know is that all the nuclear waste, okay, has been purchased by private entities.
I thought it was shipped off to India as food.
No, it's not shipped off to India. No, it's actually a lot of these companies. Because there are
the racist white American government buries all the nuclear waste under black neighborhoods in leaky barrels.
I'm not saying that there's a perfect solution out there, but what I'm trying to point out
there
is
isn't.
That
there is actually, but initially it would cost a lot.
What's your perfect solution?
Space.
Well, okay. that's not a solution. It's just another place to go. All right. Simply put, these huge industrial sites. Let's get back to this. Huge industrial sites. We must simply stop using the friendly sounding terms of farms to describe them. Create all manner of negative consequences for local communities. Consequences like loud noise
and wildlife.
from the wind turbines, hundreds of dead birds and bats sprinkled across the countryside. Thousands of acres.
No, not sprinkled, splattered.
Okay. Thousands of acres of productive farm or ranch lands taken out of production for many years, not permanently. Spoiled views, enormous graveyards filled with 150-foot blades and solar panels popping up all over the place, and impacts to local wind and weather patterns, all right, that are only now beginning to be understood. Okay.
Solar panels actually, even the best made ones, they tend to leak. And they leak over what is normally good growing land and poison it. Yeah, and the poison's there for, I think, a couple of thousand years.
Well, it's heavy.
They're an ecological disaster.
They use heavy metal.
They're an ecological disaster.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't leak.
You could
the fact that they're blocking out the sunlight. Hold on. Even if they didn't leak, right? The fact that they're blocking out sunlight to this land, yeah, all the nutrient generating bacteria, fungi, plants, and even animals in that land die.
Yes.
The land becomes barren.
Yes. You're not wrong.
And
that is a problem. That I've tried to identify to these idiots that keep talking about how solar can fix this and solar can fix that. You can get the most efficient solar panels that we've ever created, and they still will not be able to meet the energy needs of the country. All right, let alone the freaking quote unquote world. Okay, the other problem that solar panels that people don't know about, okay, is, for example, hey TC, here in Arizona, okay, you go, wow, it's a desert, lots of sunny days and all this other stuff. So this would be a great place for them, right?
Apart from when it's cloudy.
All right. Well, it's not cloudy all that often, but
hold on. In the desert, correct me if I'm wrong, but you get lots of dust storms in the desert, right?
Not a lot. We get a few. Not too many.
And you get a lot of dust even without dust storms. You get a lot of dust settling places, right?
You do have to keep the things.
You're gonna have to employ a shit ton of people to work on these things, which means they're gonna have to be spaced far enough apart for people to get through. And they're gonna have to be small enough for people to work on to clean off the fucking dust on a daily fucking basis. It just Do you know where solar panels are truly efficient?
Go ahead.
In orbit.
In space. No, I agree.
Yeah.
But there's another problem. Okay, and that is solar panels. If they heat up, they get too hot, their efficiency drops to 0.
Yeah.
Okay, and most people don't realize that temperature range is only about 135,
So
140 degrees.
What you're saying is we should set up solar panel farms in the Arctic and Antarctic, and in the summer we use the ones in the Arctic, and in the winter we use the ones in the Antarctic.
That would be more effective, yeah. Actually, that would be far more
totally
effective.
useless. But still totally useless. You'd have to employ fucking Eskimos and penguins to sweep off the snow.
Well, there's, like I said, there's no perfect solution to this stuff. There really
isn't.
But
and no matter what, hold on, no matter what form of energy production you get, you've still got a really damaging waste byproduct from it, and from all technology, in fact. Waste heat.
Yes, that's very true, and that's always going to be the case. All right.
Yeah.
So
it's funny though, because our energy production actually relies on heat as well.
Yes, it does. So it's counterproductive.
It's a pity you can't sort of siphon off this heat.
Well,
and use it.
It's not really the heat that you're utilizing; it's the disparity of heat. It's the differential.
Well, when you look at our energy production, it's all, even nuclear, it's all based on the same. It's all based on steam power, basically, on the driving of a piston, or
turbines,
or the driving of a mechanical item to produce an electrical charge.
Correct. All right, but once again,
I mean, we don't have the technology to convert energy directly into electricity yet.
Yes, we do.
But it is possible.
We do have the technology.
Directly.
We do have that technology. All right. The problem is that's what a solar panel actually is. All right, is you're converting energy directly into electrical power, but there's limits to it. Okay, because there's several different limitations, and one of the major limitations, all right, is range. All right.
Well, what I'm on about is
the energy range being captured, being utilized, is actually a fairly narrow band. People don't know that.
What I was on about was apparently it is hypothetically possible. Apparently, it's been demonstrated by mathematics and stuff to directly convert atomic energy into electricity without having to use dynamos and shit.
We have ways of converting radiation directly into energy,
but not on a useful scale.
That depends on how you're looking at it. That's what the Russians did with their plutonium in their satellites. Did you know that?
Do you know what I'm waiting for?
What?
Actually, no. They use the same technology as the Americans. It was the heat that the plutonium provided, which powered the electricity. But what you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the first laboratory to create 5 to 10 pounds of antimatter and accidentally drop it on the floor. Half the planet disappears.
I don't think we're ever going to get to that point. But when you talk about the climate activists and so forth, this is how you deal with them. Activists are now facing felony charges for a red powder attack on the U.S. Constitution. 2 activists accused of throwing red powder on the U.S. Constitution display case at the National Archives last month are now facing felony charges, the Justice Department announced on Friday. Donald Zepeda, 35, of Maryland, and Jackson Green, 27, of Utah, were charged with felony destruction of government property for dumping the fine red powder all over the display case in an indictment that was unsealed in the district court on Thursday, per the Justice Department.
If it was just stop oil, they would have probably smashed the display case.
Well, no, they may have tried, but they would not have been able to get through that. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, they would have definitely tried.
That display case is beyond bulletproof. Okay, I want you to understand
that. To be honest, I think these people to get the message across in the UK and in the United States, these activists who do this fucking powder stuff. Like, they should be shot as soon as they see committing the crime. Out of hand, just bang, through the head.
Well,
drop the bastards.
Slamming these guys, all right, and hammering on them, all right, with a felony conviction in the United States carries a penalty that they are no longer ever able to vote. All right, and that's
vote.
One of the things.
Did you see it?
Yeah, you're stripped of citizenship. All right.
Oh, so basically what we did to Shamima Begum.
Well, basically, in a sense, you're not truly stripped of full citizenship, but you're stripped of certain citizenship rights. All right. For example, if you get a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own a
firearm. So you can't. Yeah, I know. So if you get a felony conviction, you can no longer wear sleeveless shirts.
No, it's not.
Because you lose the right to bear arms.
Not quite. I'm going to do a little bit of local news now. We're going to jump into a little local news here. Governor Katie Hobbs, this is the governor of Arizona, folks, faces a tougher choice after a University of Arizona shakeup that wasn't. As shakeups go, this wasn't much of one. The 3-member band that was directing the financial crisis management at the University of Arizona shuffled the instruments a bit, but essentially kept the band together for the moment. It's not clear how much the governor was involved in the changes announced on Thursday by the Arizona Board of Regents. She has been on a trade mission to Mexico this week, but no doubt the phone lines were hot between Phoenix and Mexico City. Thursday's announcement came only days after the governor released a scathing statement that was an unmistakable vote of no confidence in the 3-man budget rescue team. The UA president Robert Robbins, Regents chair Fred Duval, and Regents executive director John Arnold. Okay, here's what's happening, folks, so people who don't know. The university, the state universities receive all sorts of funding from the state. Okay, from the state of Arizona. So the Arizona State University and the University of Arizona both are state universities who receive a lot of money. The problem has been all these professors for, basket weaving 101, people are saying, why the hell are we paying all this outrageous money, especially when they started looking at where this money was going and what these people were studying, and people said, why are the tuition rates going out through the roof? Now, part of the reason that they're going out through the roof here in the United States is because this stupid cunt, and I'm talking about our Arizona governor, also stood up there and said, oh no, we're going to give in-state tuition rates to illegal aliens.
Norman, may I stop you there? I object to your calling this governor what you just did, and I've got a very valid reason for objecting.
Oh, okay. What's your reason?
Cunts are useful.
All right, bint. How's that? How about the word bint? Okay, we'll call her a bint. All
right. Well, that's just English slang, which was taken from Arabic, and it means woman. So. Call her stupid.
The bint sounds like lint, and that's what she is, navel lint. Okay? You don't understand that. She's as useless as navel lint. She's a danger to everyone. And she's one of the ones that has created a crisis now in these universities because people are saying, wait a minute here. What the hell are these people actually doing?
That's because the people who are all over the Western world, the people who are in power and doing the job of governing, do not know how to do the job of governing.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, like Zombie Joe.
more Arizona news. Judge rules that the Arizona law requiring proof of citizenship to vote is not discriminatory. Now, I want you to think on that, folks. These people were trying to sit up there and brought a case to say, well, if I've got to prove I'm a U.S. citizen, that's discrimination. All right?
No.
Well, it is a type of discrimination. It's like we're trying to prove that discriminate out against the people who aren't U.S. citizens. A federal judge ruled Thursday
that that's not discriminatory is being used. How discriminatory is being used in this instance,
right?
So it's not discriminatory.
The federal judge ruled Thursday that a new Arizona law requiring voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship is not discriminatory. The U.S. District Judge Susan Bolton concluded Thursday that the state legislature were not discriminate when they adopted the voting laws in 2022 and that the state has an interest in preventing voter fraud. Really? Well, it's nice that the judge actually sit up there and listen to this voter fraud case when the judges before who sit up there and said, yeah, none of the rules were actually followed in the previous case, but since these are just regulatory rules and not laws, no, the law doesn't really apply here, so we're not going to worry about it. That's what they did. Okay, it was proven conclusively that the regulations that were set down, all right, because we got video evidence that the regulations that were set down to prove that the signature ballot process, that the signature verification process was being followed. Well, when you have evidence that it's not being followed and that there's no verification taking place, and yet this judge simply said, yeah, but you didn't tell us how the verification has to take place, so therefore no verification is valid. That's what the judge actually ruled in our case. All right? I want people to understand that. They sat there and said, well, these are the rules that the state set down, all right, regulatory wise, to say this is what it takes to validate the signature. And when it wasn't followed, the judge said, yeah, but those aren't laws.
So they're basically using word salad not to do the job.
Well, because he didn't want to sit up there and overturn the election, which he would have done.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the problem with this. Okay. You have these justices that are absolute cowards and not able to sit up there and actually tell people, be honest with people about what's going on. And this is what has created the environment when people are screaming, I don't believe that the process is being followed. I don't believe in the validity of these signatures. The reason that people aren't believing that these signatures are valid or that the process is valid and that there wasn't voter fraud is that everything that was put in place to say, okay, we're going to use this to prevent voter fraud was tossed out as, well, you don't have to look at that. Though we're not going to, that process is for whatever reason flawed, so therefore you can't use that as a standard.
Right. When Biden was elected, didn't they catch one of the Democrat the campaign officers with a bunch of fake ballots in his car, and they still counted them?
There's still a lot of that was going on, but the rules don't have to apply to Democrats. All right. That's the biggest problem. Is you got these people constantly saying, "Oh, the rules apply. The rules apply." Show me where. Show me how the rules are being applied, because they're not. That's what's got these people up in arms about this. The Georgia State House passes a bill allowing police to arrest anyone suspected of being in the country illegally. Huh. The Georgia State House has passed a bill that allows for anyone suspected of being in the United States illegally to be arrested. The State House voted on 97 to 74 to approve the House Bill 1105, which would allow police to arrest anyone with probable cause who is suspected of being in the United States unlawfully and detain them for deportation. See, that's the part. That's the problem that they got. Detain them for deportation. In other words, they don't have to let them go. Okay? See, there's where the rub is. It's not that the suspected of arresting them is the issue, because they don't give a shit about whether they're arrested. The problem is that they can be held until they're deported. Until they're deported. Now, this is just a Senate. This is just a House bill. They have a Senate in a bicameral in Georgia, so therefore it has to pass the Senate, and then of course the governor has to sign it. There's no way Governor Kemp, all right, even though he's a quote unquote Republican, he is not a conservative. Okay, there's no way that Kemp is going to sit up there and sign any such legislation. It's just not going to happen. So this is really much to do about nothing, quite frankly. It's sad. It's sad.
Yep. It's all TC's fault.
It's all TC's fault. Can I blame
I'm glad you agree.
Can I blame TC for this too? Maine residents in uproar over $13 million Taj Mahal migrant housing complex, where asylum seekers can stay rent-free in luxury apartments for 2 years. Residents of a Maine town have hit out at a $13 million construction of a complex of 60 apartments for asylum seekers where they can live rent-free for 2 years, then pay a fraction of the rental price. Locals in Brunswick have expressed fury over the project, which is being funded by a mix of private and public money, and which has been heavily criticized by Donald Trump Jr. Right? The apartment complex in Brunswick is one of many projects being launched by the town in what critics have labeled a Taj Mahal red carpet welcome for asylum seekers.
Yeah, like I just said to TC, I can see this happening in the UK if it hasn't already, of course.
Basically, we're gonna offer free housing to illegal aliens. Not for you Americans, but for you illegal aliens, we're gonna give you.
Oh, do you know what they're doing? You know what they're doing in the UK? They're putting they're compulsory putting compulsory purchase orders on people's houses, right? Forcing them to sell, and then they're putting migrants in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing all bending over backwards to give migrants homes, right? Legal or illegal. Yet we have homeless British people, homeless ex-servicemen who they won't even lift a finger to help.
Yeah,
it's time these people were dragged out of their seats of power and replaced.
They need
with people who are prepared to fucking do the job.
Well, we're gonna. I think I have another story, or do I?
And the only way, hold on, let me finish. And the only way to do it is legally, because if you have a riot or a revolution, you're just going to exchange one bad lot for another bad lot.
Possibly.
But hey, look at Russia.
Possible. Yeah,
look at China. Okay. Look at Mexico every 3 years.
Well, Mexico.
They have a revolution every 3 years. Same people get into power.
Yeah, well, Mexico's getting ready to re-elect the same power nut that AMLO's a part of, and the woman that they're going to re-elect is just an absolute travesty. Right? It's going to turn
somebody into it's somebody the cartels like.
Well, she's basically. The cartels approve. Hassan vows to cover Trump legal case differently. Really? All right. We will stop this charade. Former MSNBC host Mehdi Hasan vowed Friday that his new company will cover the former President Trump's legal woes differently than the media company has thus far. We will stop this charade that it's a legal story, Hasan said Friday evening in an interview with the News Nation's Cuomo. Like you and I both worked in cable for years. You longer than me, Hasan told Chris Cuomo. There's some great legal analysts and some great lawyers and prosecutors on air. Many of them are friends of mine. But I think it's a mistake to frame this story as a legal story. All right? Hasan's company, Zido, right, will cater to progressives and seek answers for questions that really matter while striving for the truth. That's not possible for progressives. All right. He pointed out that the Supreme Court's recent decision to pick up the issue of whether former President Trump can be criminally prosecuted for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election, calling it a political story rather than a legal one. Hey, Hasan, how is this being held any differently or being talked about any differently today than it has been on MSNBC, all right, or NBC, CBS, ABC for the past 2 decades?
Sesame Street, you forgot Sesame Street.
NPR, excuse me. Hey, James. Right? Yeah. Well, we're gonna do this differently. We're gonna do this, dude. You ain't doing anything different. It's the same shit. It's the exact same shit, different day. It's the exact same thing. Now,
it's a new shit every day.
Yeah, like they're gonna sit up there and try and cover the Trump issue. If this was all a quote unquote political case to begin with, then why did you cover it as a legal case to begin with? why are you bringing this into court if it's supposedly not a legal case? If it's all political, you just admitted, dumbass, that you guys aren't interested in the legality of this. That all you're interested in is the politics of it.
Oh no, lads! I want you to go and check the memes section. I put something in there that Jensen sent me a little while ago, which I still laugh at.
What did you do, sir?
I think you can share it with.
What did you put up in here? Good evening, Mr. Cripps.
No, I said it's in your memes section.
Okay. Wrong thing.
I'm still laughing at that. There's no 2 weeks since Jensen sent me that.
I'm not gonna
what?
Put that out there. I'm not gonna put that out there.
Why not?
I don't want to.
Coward.
I'm not a coward, but I just don't feel like doing it. Anyway, all right.
Because he is in your shed, isn't he?
I know people have been bitching about me not doing political stories, and this is a lot more political heavy today. Ex-Jim Biden business partner disputes loan testimony before Congress. A former business partner of Jim Biden is disputing an account of the president's brother gave to Congress about hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans his company received. Biden told congressional investigators that fund manager Michael Lewitt forgave $225,000 in loans to the Biden firm, according to a transcript of his February 21st testimony released on Friday. But Levitt, who previously worked with Jim Biden to finance a hospital chain, told Politico that he did not forgive the loans. Instead, he said a third party, which he declined to name, assumed Jim Biden's debt. He said that he believes the loan assumption occurred in the early 2020s. Lewitt's statement implies that Jim Biden's company received a six-figure bailout from an unnamed benefactor while his brother was running for president. Gee, I wonder what this was about.
You think this unnamed benefactor might have been the guy who salutes the Marines?
Oh, I love this. A lawyer for Jim Biden reaffirmed his original testimony about the loans. Jim's understanding remains that the loans from Michael Levitt were forgiven.
It's again something we can blame TC for.
So the problem is Levitt found himself in trouble. Levitt found himself saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to take care of this." And so what he's done is he's come back and he's trying to cover himself because this under Levitt now can be looked upon and saying, "Why did you forgive this loan?" And he doesn't want to answer that question. All right, because he knows why they gave the loan. This was a money laundering issue for good old Joe Boy, right? His brother.
Yep.
Just like this story. All right. Newsom rep and Panera Bread owner refute claims of special exemption from wage law. This is after this guy gave over $200,000 for various times to Governor Newsom's campaigns.
Oh, hold on. That picture.
That one? That's for an ad.
Yeah.
Right.
Look underneath it. The fucking the blurb underneath it. It makes it look like that's supposed to be Governor Newsom.
I do agree with that. That is kind of an odd way of doing it. Governor Gavin Newsom's administration has denied news reports that he pushed for an exemption on the state's new fast food minimum wage law that benefits a wealthy campaign donor. California's minimum wage law is $16 per hour, but starting April 1st, most fast food restaurants in the state must pay their workers at least $20 an hour under legislation Newsom signed last year to much fanfare. It doesn't apply to restaurants that have on-site bakeries and sell bread as a standalone menu item. That exception puzzled many industry watchers and has never been fully explained by Newsom or the other supporters of the law. But Bloomberg News on Wednesday reported it was connected to opposition from Panera Bread franchise Greg Flynn, whose company owns 24 restaurants in California and has donated to Newsom's campaigns. Oh, the story is absurd, some spokesman said.
I no longer want to live in this universe.
Flynn said in a statement Thursday that he opposed the initial legislation and suggested fast food casual restaurants like bakeries, bagel shops, and delis be excluded if the intent of the bill was to address alleged labor code violations in fast food restaurants. But my fast food restaurant, no, it shouldn't apply to us.
The United States have passed a set of laws, pertaining to the undead.
Yeah.
It's called the Bill of Rights.
Flynn's Properties and Greg Flynn, the founder and chairman and CEO, have donated more than $220,000 to Newsom's political campaigns since 2017, including a $100,000 donation to Newsom's campaign to defeat a recall attempt in 2021. Gee, I wonder how we got out this exact result. So basically, and the thing was, is when he was asked, well, okay, if the minimum wage law is so good, how come it shouldn't apply to these guys, right? If these workers are being abused. He goes, so it's okay to abuse workers that bake bread? and they had no answer.
Yep.
It was hilarious.
I can see why.
Meanwhile, in another stick in the eye, to good old Gavin boy.
I like the title already.
Coast Guard refuses to enforce California's new environmental regulation. The state of California is once again proving that it is a far left outlier, and now even the U.S. Coast Guard won't enforce one of the state's outrageous new regulations because of safety concerns waiting to befall ships at sea. The Coast Guard sent an official letter dated February 21st to the California Air Resources Board to inform state officials that the branch will not penalize ships for lacking the new diesel exhaust particulate filter on their engines as required by the new state regulation. In a letter, Rear Admiral Andrew Sugimoto, all right, I'm not trying to butcher your name, sir, commander of the 11th District, told state officials that the new regulation is dangerous because the devices that the state is demanding that ships install are prone to failure and have caused dangerous fires. So basically, we want you to put this device that's going to burn your ship to the ground.
No, it's not going to burn your ship to the ground. Your ship's at sea. It's going to burn your ship. It's just going to burn your ship.
The Admiral said that the Guard has concerns about the potential safety issues over the DPF, or operating temperatures, and that DPS verified by CARB are not necessarily accepted by the Coast Guard for installation on inspected commercial vehicles. It is an engine manufacturer's responsibility to ensure that the engine systems are approved and certified by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for marine use and applicable emission requirements. In other words, you don't get to decide this, California. Do you have your snowshoes ready, Batman?
I don't need them. I don't leave the house if I can avoid it.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right. Like the blizzards we were supposed to have around Christmas time. That never happened.
Yeah, snow bomb hits Britain. Arctic blast will bring this -7 degrees deep freeze as Met Office issues new weather warning for swaths of the country set to be hit. Brits are set to experience a -7-degree Arctic blast this weekend that will leave some areas covered in snow. The Met Office has said that whilst February has seen some of the warmest days on record, the nation will experience a frosty welcome in March due to a polar air moving through Iceland and into the UK from the west. The Weather Service has issued a yellow weather warning for the west of England this morning.
They say that every. Yeah, they're saying that it was some of the warmest weather this time of year on record. No, it wasn't. I've lived through fucking warmer Februaries than we've had. They keep. I think they reset the records every few years. That's why they say that. Yeah, every year it's the warmest summer on record. No, it's not. Stop lying to us.
Well, it's to try and push global warming. Right, there were some nice warm days in February here in the United States in certain areas. Yeah. Other areas got very, very cold. We have not, for example, we here in the desert have not set any records at all as far as heat goes. Right, for February.
What?
Right? It's been fairly mild, but we haven't set any records. All right, it's just one of the things that we've been dealing with. Okay.
And even if climate change is real, the amount of pollutants that we put out compared to the environmental changing gases and chemicals that the planet itself puts out are negligible at best.
Yeah.
We are barely contributing to it. And one of the things that makes me laugh is they go on meat farming produces a lot of methane. Yeah, it's all these cows farting. The amount of domestic cattle is a ridiculously small amount of the amount of ruminants that exist in the world. There are far more wild ruminants than there are domestic. If they want to curtail the amount of methane getting blasted out in the air by these animals, they'd have to start slaughtering elephants and rhinos and other shit. They're just. It is. Hold on, who said it? Nimblehorse isn't far off the mark. It's definitely a demoralization program. And yeah, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing, which is why places which couldn't support large amounts of plant life normally are now supporting large amounts of plant life.
Well, that's true. All right. The thing that I've tried to explain to people is, let's assume that the planet does warm. Okay. Let's assume all these worst fears that we're going to be 2 or 3 degrees Celsius hotter, right, in 150 years. Well, what does that say about areas that couldn't produce food, like Greenland? Now it becomes very productive again. It can become green again. Okay, people initially assumed that when the Vikings labeled Greenland as Greenland, it was some kind of psyop operation where
actually it was the settlers who went there. It's because the Norse did do a lot of recording of shit, and yeah, it was an icy waste even back then.
Well,
but then again, there was during that time there was actually a mini glaciation period in full swing.
Yes, there was also they also had annotated that there were large forests initially, but they got buried. So that's what happens to these
things. Because Greta Thunberg decides that the trees were causing global warming.
How dare you! How dare you!
How dare you! How dare you!
All right. Burglar in Pennsylvania. Burglar stole $2 quadrillion in currency, or $2 quadrillion in currency. Excuse me. Please report that a suspect made off with a 16-figure haul after burglarizing a Pennsylvania residence earlier this month. Investigators say that the Bedford home was broken into on February 6th by an unknown individual who made off with several pieces of jewelry, silver dollars worth $20, and 2 quadrillion in currency, Zimbabwean currency. According to the report,
what's that like? About £5 or something.
According to the police report, 20 Zimbabwe $100 trillion bills were swiped by the burglar. For some reason, the report values the stolen currency as worth $1 million of U.S. However, Zimbabwean bills issued during the period of hyperinflation are essentially worthless as currency. Instead, they are sold as a humanistic oddity at around $10 a piece.
Yeah.
So in other words, that's about $200 in currency.
Nomad. When I was a kid, I collected currency, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like lots of kids did. And I had 500 million German marks. Yeah, from the hyperinflation period. Yeah, for the whole lot, if I recall rightly, I paid 5 pence.
Yeah,
so I know full well about this shit.
Back to the story here. It has a list: engagement rings valued at $1,500, a gold turtle necklace valued at $25, a blue diamond ring valued at $250, a ruby ring valued at $150, a ruby necklace valued at $150, a jade necklace valued at $50, a diamond heart necklace valued at $500, silver dollars valued at $20, $30 in loose change, and 20 Zimbabwean $100 trillion bills valued at $1 million. Anyway, on to the New York City. Shall we take a look at New York City?
Do we have to? If Spider-Man or the Fantastic Four or somebody's not involved, I'm not interested.
A stunning NYPD cop sues the force after nude pic she sent her lieutenant boy, 12 years ago, spreads like wildfire.
Can I quote McGregor Moscow here?
Sure.
That is a man.
A stunning NYPD.
That's a masculine face. Hey, that's a masculine face, right? That's an Adam's apple. That's a man.
The stunning NYPD officer who was once suspended for interfering in a traffic stop of her alleged drug dealer boyfriend is now taking aim at the department, claiming that her career has been derailed after her topless image was repeatedly shared among fellows' finest, according to a lawsuit. Alisa, I'm not going to butcher your name, lady. Barjarek? Barjarek? Anyway, 34, joined the department in 2012 and sent the salacious snap to Lieutenant Mark Rivera, whom she dated for several months that year, she said, in her Manhattan Supreme Court lawsuit. Riviera allegedly...
What's with those eyebrows?
I don't know. Riviera allegedly shared the photo, in a group text with other cops, and it immediately spread, but... Alisa, said that the union delegates urged her not to file a complaint. That's actually a better look.
All right. It looks like she's got 2 bull caterpillars squaring off to fight above her eyes.
Now, here's the thing. You're a New York City police officer. Why were you sending anyone nude pics of yourself? Are you just stupid?
Yes.
Is this
Hey, you asked.
I did. I did. I did ask. You are correct.
Yes, you did. So you've only got one person to blame, haven't you?
Teenage girl.
That's right, TC.
Yeah, TC. Was that how it was? Like a bad rat. Teenage girl dies at Maryland Metro station in a suspected train surfing incident, said police. Now, why am I doing this story? This doesn't seem like one of these stories you would do, Nomad. Yeah, well, here's why. A teenage girl was killed after reportedly train surfing at a Maryland Metro station Friday, according to police. Metro Transit Police responded to a report of a deceased girl on the Silver Spring train around 10:30 a.m. Friday. Police stated it appeared to be a train surfing incident. Additional information on the victim has not yet been released. Okay. Friday wasn't a holiday here, folks. 10:30 a.m. on a Friday. Why wasn't this teen in school?
Would you these days? Would you want your kid to be at school?
I don't want them riding freaking trains trying to play freaking Teen Wolf on top of a freaking train.
Well, no, but even so, would you want your kid in school these days?
Once again, no, but once again, I don't want them riding trains either. What was this? What was the heck was going
on? Hold on. Most Americans have a lockable basement, don't they?
No, that's not true. Most places do not have basements.
Well, they should do. They should do. Then problem solved.
And especially not in Maryland, because Maryland is not really subject to like tornadoes and things like that. Like in the Midwest,
that's not what you tend to have basements for.
In the Midwest, you tend to have more basements because of for safety purposes.
I mean, in the UK and in Europe, lots of houses have basements, or as we call them, cellars. Mostly in Europe, and we don't suffer from tornadoes.
Yeah,
they're just useful places to put shit. Yeah, like teenagers.
Like teenagers. Riding outside a train is dangerous, illegal, and likely to lead to severe injury or even death, said signage posted on the bulkhead doors between rail cars, warning customers that walking between rail cars is prohibited unless in an emergency.
When you have to put signs like that in trains, or warnings on fucking bottles of medicine, you know that your population have become moronic.
Here's another way to find out if your population has become moronic. University of Florida to fire all DEI employees to avoid violating state law. Governor Ron DeSantis has challenged diversity programs, calling them discriminatory initiatives. He's right. That's what they are. The University of Florida announced Friday that it is firing all employees in positions related to diversity, equity, and inclusion at the public university, according to a memo that the Alligator, the University of Florida's campus newspaper, posted on X. The university has closed its office of the chief of diversity officer, eliminated DEI position and administrative appointments, and halted DEI-focused contracts with outside vendors. The university said it made the decision. Let me finish these last two real quick paragraphs here. Right, the university said it made this decision to comply with state law, which prohibits the use of state and federal funds for DEI programs. The University of Florida's Office of Chief Financial Officer will reallocate the approximately $5 million in DEI funds into faculty recruitment fund, according to the memo.
I hate to do this to you, Nomad, but yeah, I've got to go. Game will be starting in about half an hour.
Okay, I'll let you
go. I'll dislike you and leave you.
All right, you go ahead and dislike me and leave me. All right. So in other words, you too. So in other words, this program was being funded by $5 million, being wasted university funds. All right. That does nothing for the students, that does nothing for anything else, was being wasted in the DEI office. So now they're going to say, well, we're going to hire more people. We're gonna hire more staff for faculty. We're gonna hire more We're gonna hire more teachers. In other words, what they're really gonna do is they're gonna take everybody that's in here that's part of this DEI thing, and they're going to give him a job as a professor adjutant or something. All right, to work with this stuff. What a day! What a day! Real life superheroes fly in the world's first jet suit race. Okay. From CNN, from futuristic architecture to pioneering infrastructure, Dubai is no stranger to weird, wonderful, and downright wacky innovation. But on Wednesday, the city of superlatives went full sci-fi when 8 pilots, suited and booted like the Marvel's Iron Man, took to the skies. They were not fighting supervillains or alien warlords, though. Against the backdrop of skyscrapers and super yachts, the airborne athletes competed in an inaugural jet suit race series, an event organized by the Dubai Sports Council and Gravity Industries, the manufacturers of the jet suit. Unlike most racing, you're racing in 3 dimensions, said Richard Browning, the chief test pilot for the UK-based Gravity Industries, which he founded in 2017. There's pilots above and below and all over the place, so it's really an interesting experience. Okay, I think this is cool. I really do, which is why I did this story. All right. The thing is all they did was fly around pylons. No, I want them to do a true 3D type of race where you're going above things and below things and you're flying up and down and you're going like hitting going in between like circles and things like that in order to sit up there and actually race. That would be cool. If you've got to sit up there and go through like hoops and things that are placed at various things, like a slalom course, all right, on skis, but instead of just 2 dimensions going left and right, no, you're going to have to go up and down. That would be awesome. Stop a bank robbery or something at least. Okay, final story of the day, folks. Final story. We'll do it right here. Loose pig lights up social media in 2 North Carolina towns. An escaped pig became an unlucky internet celebrity when residents of 2 North Carolina towns spotted them wandering through their yards. The pig was first spotted on Wednesday in Falconwood Drive in Wendell, and social media lit up with photos and videos and reported sightings of the pig wandering through various Wendell and Nightdale neighborhoods. Wake County Animal Control said officers were able to take the social media celebrity swine into custody after it made its way south to Eagle View Drive area. The male pig, nicknamed Thanos by rescuers, was taken to the Wake County Animal Shelter on a stray hold. Officials said they are now trying to locate the pig's owner. State law requires them to auction the animal if no one comes forward to claim him. Yes. A loop-de-loop would be cool too, yes. Free bacon. That's what they should have named the pig. Is bacon, because that's what he's going to be. That's what he's going to be turned into. I'm sure. Okay. For those who don't know, when I was growing up on a farm, all right, we raised pigs. And from time to time, we would help the neighbors take hogs to market, right, for sales to the stockyards, where they would be then sold to slaughterhouses to be turned into bacon, all right, ham, all right, pork shoulder, spam, a few other things, all right. Nope, never saw your pig. Sorry. What's a bacon? Right. Pigs are notorious escape artists. And one time when we were driving to the stockyard, a truck in front of us that was not part of our our group was actually another group that was taking their animals to the stockyard for sale. They had a pig literally climb up the side walls of the truck and jump out. And we were doing about 55 miles an hour. And we weren't speeding, okay? But we were doing at least 55 miles an hour, and that pig jumped. All right. And it went down. It had to be at least 12 feet in the air as it hit and then rolled, all right, into the ditch. And then it got up and ran off. Okay. These things are tough. Right? Hope the pig wasn't telling Porky. All right. These things escape. Pigs escape all the time. I'm sure that there's a farmer that's probably been looking for this animal for a while. Now, whether he finds it or not, who knows? But I think its destination has already been predetermined for the poor critter. Anyway, folks, that's the last story for the day. I appreciate you all coming out. Thank you again for showing up. I hope you all have a good day, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Bye-bye.